Wasn't planning on asking you this, so I'll throw you a curveball. I'll give you a question that you weren't
Sure.
expecting. If there was, other than your book, which comes out on January 16th, Big Shoes to Fill, if there were three leadership books that you would recommend that someone read starting January 1st, and again, in addition to your book, you're like, look, these are the three books right now that if you read them, they will be practical, they will be applicable, and they will shortcut your way to leadership success. What would those be?
Wow, that's a tough question off the cuff because I do read a lot. Um, in the church space, if I could maybe
Hmm.
deviate a little bit on that, on the church space, I would read The Great Dechurching. It is fantastic. Um, I think it is so good. From a pure leadership space, I don't know how to say this without, this is going to sound terrible. I feel like so many leadership books I read feel like blog posts that got turned into 200-page. So there's not a lot of great ones, to be honest. One of the, well, there are some good, but they're classic ones. So now I'm going to say anything you haven't
Okay.
heard before in that realm, right? Um, one of my all-time favorites, so these aren't new. One of my all-time favorites is Lincoln on Leadership. It is fantastic. And it really delves into how Abraham Lincoln surrounded himself with people to help him lead better. But the people he surrounded himself by were nothing like him. In fact, he invited several opponents to be in his cabinet. And so Lincoln on Leadership was a formulative book for me earlier
Mhm.
in my leadership journey. Um, I also, as crazy as this, this isn't crazy, it's very popular, but Brene Brown's book, um, uh, Dare to, what was the one? I've read three or four of hers. I can't remember which one this one was, but there's one where she talks so much about culture and building culture and how to identify what culture is. That's incredible. It's such a good book. William Vanderbloom wrote a book not too long ago on leadership called Culture Wins. I loved it as well. It was so helpful. But I'm going to lean more. I said that kind of jerkily earlier. It's a joke, but so many leadership books are just um, principles and without tactical, practical advice on how to do it. So the books I'm leaning towards are things that are not just principled, but very helpful, that are helping you implement, not just helping you think about a principle or identify something you haven't thought of before. So the Brene Brown's, the William Vanderbloom's book, the Culture Wins book, those things they're just really, really helpful.